So yeah, I want to show that beautiful new clubhouse. And also, we had a chat as we were walking over. I mean, of course, there's fantastic deep history to the club, and you can't even really say exactly when it started, because you go back to the 19th century, you would have had the hobblers going out racing to the merchant boats. It was all about who got there first, and that was and that would have become almost like a sport in itself. That you knew that if you got there first, you got the goods. So the club itself, what would you say, 1930s was really, or 1950s?
Yeah, well, I mean, the club came into being itself, I think it was 1950 originally. Became, you know, a racing club, but I mean, the club spawns back to the 30s and the 40s. Originally the Colleen Baum was the boat of the day. Now that was a working boat back then, you know. But it wasn't until 1952 that the original Shamrock arrived to the club, you know.
And that's sort of like the patron saint almost of the club. Like, I mean, I was reading about the various different boats, but the Shamrock, because there's now number 4 is currently active. There's a sense that that's really the kind of this is our baby. This is
that's our name. That's what we've stuck with over the years, and it seems to have paid off, you know.
So that idea that you know, as you look through the history, there's so many people that are kind of crucial to its development, and you know, you've got the great Joe Sweeney, and then you've got the Haydens and Redmonds and great boat builders and all that kind of thing. I mean, do you find yourself now, are there, I mean, you're putting your history together, are there certain people you can say, well, these are the founders? So is that possible?
Yeah, it would be, I suppose. Back in the 50s, I mean, there was a famous senior crew of 50s, I think from 1952 up to 1956 or 57 that won every senior race going, you know.
Nice.
In the boat we had Paddy Redmond, I think he was the bellman. DeBar Whiston was midship. Jimmy Redmond, Ozzie Sperling, and Beezy Whiston was cox. So back then, great names.
Beezy Whiston, I want to meet him.
Yeah, I suppose at the start, Mackenzie was the chairman at the time, I think, and to this day that cup is named after him. It's the minor cup now. It was a senior cup back then, but I mean, the Sperlings, the Redmonds, the Wistons, back in the early days, they were sort of the main families in it, you know. Right.
Now this kind of, you know, the current would say kind of lineup have been winning a huge amount of awards. It does seem like it's a particularly healthy time for the club. I mean, there seems to be, you know, the Celtic Challenge, which is the sort of artery, which are like some of the Greystones members are in that. But then Greystones itself has had some nice wins. The Ocean, to, you know, there's all these different things that have been
over
popping
the years,
up.
So
I mean, it does seem like it's a healthy kind of a.
We're in a good place at the moment now. Last year was one of our quieter years trophy wise, but I mean, the year before that was we won the senior race, first time in nearly since the famous crew of the 50s that Greystones has won a senior race. So we've had good wins. We've had junior, great junior team. I think it was back in 2008-9. That was Willie Byrne, Anto Byrne, Alan Monaghan, my brother Paddy, and I was cox for them at the time. So through the years, recently we've had senior ladies. Vanessa Kemp's crew, they'd won senior ladies 2 years on the bounce. I mean, that's the first time I think ever in the history of the club that senior ladies had won, you know. And kids, we had great success with kids. We had minor crews, under 14s. So over the last, say, 10-12 years, the club has been doing well, you know.
I know that I was surprised when I read Jago's thing. He just mentioned the fact that when the original Colleen Baum, I think, was being, there was a, you know, when the club started, there was a fallout over the fact that some believed the boat should be blessed by the local priest, and I think the very Reverend Father Skehan did eventually. But there was, in the rule books, there was a non-political and non-partisan was a kind of rule about the club, and 3 members resigned. It does seem that those kind of ideas of any division are gone, because you know, there's all ages, all there's no kind of those are kind of bygone days.
They are, in fairness.
So the women were women like a recent kind of, I'm trying to remember now.
No, as far as I know, if we look at one of the race programs there, they have on the 70s, there was a ladies race in there. Great. So I think the ladies have been rowing from at least the 70s anyway. I wouldn't be 100% sure now on that. Because
I was just looking at images, and you sort of it's almost, you sort of feel, you sort of recognise a time. Oh, that was great. There was a. I don't know whether you'd have such a thing as certain people are heroes to you, because I'm certainly aware of a lot of the you know, the Haydens and the Redmonds and all that who've been there. I don't know if there's certain people you think, holy moly, he's one of our kind of,
well, I suppose I grew up listening to my own dad. All the stories he used to tell us about the cups they won through the 70s. I mean, the minor team in the 70s, they won, I think, of 18 races, they won, or 18 trophies in 2 years, you know. So that's nearer to me, you know, that time, you know. I have to go back as well to just the when the club started back up again in 2000 after a bit of hiatus through the 90s. Willie Byrne and Anton Byrne, I mean, they took the club from literally nothing to what it is now, you know. I think it was in 2000 that they secured the building of a new boat, the Cluckalia.
Right.
And that boat was actually built in the same yard as the original Shamrock Smiths of Ringsend. So they changed the whole structure of the club, you know. It was really concentrating on youth. And
that is a fantastic thing that you know, somebody within the community sort of recognises that this is valuable. Like, this isn't just, you know, always history and it's going to remain history, because that 80s kind of devastated the whole country, and that would have, you know, seen a huge amount of anybody with a bit of strength in them had to go to London or somewhere else to earn some money, so there was suddenly a lack of rowers. When did you kind of sort of realise that the club was back, or I don't know?
Well, I suppose I only got it. I started rowing when I was 15 in 2000, and
good timing for you then, that it was sort of
it was just it sort of all worked out for me that the lads took it up, you know, and I've been going ever since. I know the first year we got back was 2000. We had an under 14s crew, under 16s crew, and one men's crew. But first regatta we entered, the under 14s race, the lads won it, so sent shockwaves through the East Coast, you know. But we were back feeling, then, you know.
You hit the bullseye with the early shots. It's nice to sort of feel, we're doing something right here already. So we do want to put the shout out to those who may have had, you know, their time in the rowing club, those who are their fathers, brothers, anybody, sisters, mothers, just that you're putting together hopefully a solid archive of all these. Yeah, you're talking about in reality, you could say 100 years plus of you know, the activity that's been involved, but the rowing club itself, we can say, is, you know, at least 70, 80 years old, and so there'll be a lot of people who would be, I'm sure, connected to it over those decades.
Yeah, there's lots of families, the old families of Greystones, and they're all still around. A lot of them are still knocking around to this day, you know. So if any of them have any photos whatsoever, going back in the day, we'd love to get them off them, you know.
Now, only attractive people though. I know you want to sort of, you have a certain image you want to put across. You don't want to have any. Like, I'm guessing, what was his name? Beezy Whiston?
Beezy Whiston.
He must have been a good looking lad. Just by that name, you can't get away with a name like that unless you're a good looking man.
But I just want to also make a special mention of the hard working committee over the last number of years. I mean, Willie Byrne was chairman at the start, and Alan Monaghan took over then, and then I have taken the reins from Alan since. So all these people are still helping out to this day, you know. So it's a thankless job really at times, but it's for the love of it, really, you know.
And we should say that, I mean, happy days, and that even the club, which we kind of started right over here, that's going to be you know, you've got your gym inside, you've got a gorgeous space, you're right here on the harbour, and that would sort of, you know, suggest a very healthy future, because, you know, that's a perfect spot.
I mean, that's one of the biggest successes we've had today now, is securing the clubhouse, you know. We were operating off the beach for since we began, really, you know, so we finally have a place to store our boats to keep them safe over the winter now, you know. And
those who would be interested in joining, I imagine it's quite a full house in many ways, and I don't know if there's a big waiting list, but there would be seems to be a great new generation of you know, you mentioned the young players or members are doing incredibly well. If those were, you know, the main website is the best way to sort of get.
That's the best way. Yeah, we're through our Facebook page or our website, but we will be running 2 open days now. We're going to do an open day for adults on the 10th of March, and we're going to do a youth open day on the 24th, and we're really trying to drive home. We're doing a big recruitment and getting young people back into the club now, you know.
Magic.
So boys and girls from 11 up to 18.
Cool. We'll be down, we'll cover that and just let people see how much fun it is.
Absolutely,
Nice.